Hey, this is Movie Guy. The next one is Dragon Ball. This came out in 1984. This when I grew up watching this stuff. It was so good, like so novel. It's one of the first cartoons I got into, especially cartoon series. And overall, I just was fascinated by it. The episodes are kind of short, so the second it starts, it's over, and the recap takes a minute, and then the credits are a couple minutes, and then there's the next episode, future credits takes a minute, and so a lot of it is literally just like 10 to 14 minutes of regular episodes. And if you were to just cut out all the other stuff, you could probably do like what is that? 10, like you do like 10 episodes, like an hour and a half, 10 episodes, and that's amazing. So if you really wanted to watch a lot of this series, you can accomplish it if you keep fast forwarding through all the intros. But as a kid, I liked the intros because you had the commercial, right? And that gave you time to get your stuff, and it's all new. No one knows what's going to happen, and so that was very exciting, especially towards the end of like the series where you get into Majin Buu. There's a guy named Buu, right? And depending on who he absorbs by turning them into candy and then eating them, he will turn into a different creature. He evolves. But the original creature, I think it's called Majin Buu, and there's probably a whole lore to him and who he is, what he is, why is he so powerful, and why he gets stronger that way. And but I haven't really dissected it and memorized it. But it was so exciting to see what's his next form. What is he going to turn to? Is he going to get stronger? Is he going to get weaker? Is he going to get stronger but have other weaknesses? And so that kept me watching back in the day. I like that he looked like cotton candy a little bit. Yeah, that kind of entertained me. It was fun. The fact that his name is Boo, that's pretty interesting. Like Boo Hoo, there's Boo, there's the nickname Boo, Boo. Like there's just all this fun stuff that you had to it. And also, Kakarot or Goku he's a kid. He's a giant kid. He never grows up, no matter how old he gets. He's always the same way he was when he was a kid. He just has a deeper voice, and he's a little bit more self-controlled than his sons, and that's just certain sons, you know. And he's just the strongest guy in the world. And then what's interesting about this guy is that even though he's the strongest guy, if he's not paying attention, someone could bang him on the head and it could really hurt. And which is the irony? Who's banging him on the head? So I guess his wife has the capacity to give him a bruise, but he's so strong. I guess part of the cartooniness is once in a while they do slip up. How could you bruise? How could you bruise Goku? So they may slip up there, but so not everything has to make perfect sense, especially in the early parts of the series when they're just goofing off, having fun, and they're not really interested in lore as much. Once they started making other Dragon Ball series and all these different characters and trying to make things consistent was when that became more important. Overall, Dragon Ball, it gets like a 4.9 out of 5. And out of 10, it's like a 9. It's like a 9.5. If I never saw this, I would probably be interested in the whole series. And then there's Dragon Ball Z, which is actually that's where Majin Buu really is. So there's the Dragon Ball manga series, and Dragon Ball Z is separate. So I'm kind of rating both Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball. So let's just rate Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball gets a little bit lower. Gets like a 9.2, because it is a little slow at times, and the cartoon is still not there. But and out of 5, it would get like a 4.7. But Dragon Ball Z would get closer to what I mentioned before, because of Majin Buu and how and the direction he started taking the characters. One of my favorite. Oh, so Dragon Ball is so interesting because most of this first part, before you get into Dragon Ball Z, is Goku as a kid. And one of his training exercises was wearing heavy clothes. And so in real life, wearing heavy clothes is not actually going to help you, but the idea is that you wear heavy clothes while you're fighting, so that when you take them off, you feel lighter and you're stronger and quicker. So watching Goku passively be funny, like Yeah, well, I was only using half of my strength, and now that I use full, I figured I'd take all this heavy armor off. He's like, you were wearing heavy armor this whole time? And that was entertaining, iconic, kind of the scenes that sum up what you can expect from Goku's personality in the series at large, the kind of comedy you see. And of course, there's a whole array of characters, like the irony in the fact that Master Roshi, his master, is a pervert. And that's like well known throughout the whole series. So you have this old guy in real life, old people, they're not that big of perverts anymore because they lose the spunk, right? But this guy, not only is he into it, he's the most out of all characters, and you have to be careful around him. And it's surprising. It's also surprising to see which characters can fly, which can't, which have super strength, and why. And that's fun to analyze, to consider. Also, the fact that they include a dragon into this series, it's interesting because when you're watching Dragon Ball, at least when I watched it, you don't get the sense that there's anything having to do with a dragon. Every 10 episodes, maybe people collect the Dragon Balls again, all 7, then you summon a dragon. But you don't feel it's the main part of it, and that's quite fascinating. Um, you don't feel it's the main part of it, but when it is, it's exciting. And the fact that there is a character like that is really exciting, and that this character is a dragon, and there's a whole lore to it, and all that. And that pretty much sums it up. So yeah, have a good day.